Hey folks, thanks for joining me again. Today in the anime production class we are going to talk about screenplays. Screenplay is basically a script for the screen. Kind of self-explanatory, but in Japan they do it a bit different. According to the animation company Madhouse, um, I got a lot of information about how they do screenplays, so that's the format we're going to be using today in this lesson. Um, first, first draft you would do of a screenplay would be called the original, and then after that they'll be called revisions. So, according to Madhouse, up to 10 revisions will be done over a span of 3 weeks. Not pushing more than a month because of scheduling. I guess by 3 weeks they already ran out of time and they need to hit the deadline and go into continue pre-production, and then after that production and post-production. So 3 weeks, 10 revisions at most, and after you have those 10 revisions done, they do a reading of the script of the screenplay for they bring in the press, they bring in TV buyers, they bring in magazines, production companies are going to be working with them. The director and the writers are there, and they read through the script. No more than 10 people are allowed in the script reading room at any time. And then they have production meetings where the script is read through with producers and directors, storyboard artists, and other production people. So the format that they use is called a block format, which is instead of having all your text in a row and your dialogue in the middle of the page, you cut up every scene and you write the text out, and then you put the dialogue, and they're basically in block paragraphs instead of having a whole page of scripts of dialogue and action and environment, location. That information is still there. It's just it's done in a block format, and I'll show you what that means up on the screen. I'm going to take my thought of manga on a string that we talked about in the first lesson, and I'm going to start writing a short screenplay for that. I'm not going to go through all 60 minutes of the screenplay, but I will write a page or two about the anime, and so something I could later on hopefully start animating or at least designing and laying out, so you get an idea of what it means in the overall aspect of the production. So let's get to writing, and I'll see you soon. Our text editor open. I'm going to change this font to something really big so everyone can see. If you're going to write this, depending how you write, I would write at a regular size typeface or font. I'm doing this at 48 because I need everyone to see the screen and not have to squint to read what I'm writing. Even though I'm dictating, usually when I'm writing on the screen, I still want you all to be able to see. So that's why it's such a huge font I'm using right now. So your font doesn't matter, your text writer doesn't matter, PC, Mac, your phone, a tablet, doesn't really matter. Just as long as you get your ideas down and you're able to get it printed somehow or deliver it to whomever's going to be doing your production. And that's all that really matters. So let's get started. Of course, I think you should have the title of your script on your Word document. So my title is Manga on a String, and I'll just highlight this just so I know that this is my script. So, we'll start by stating the first scene. Interior, exterior. Right now, first scene for my manga on a string is exterior. And let me just get rid of that underlining. And my setting is Tokyo during the morning. Sorry, Tokyo dash morning. So yeah, I have to adapt this for English writers because I'm not writing in kanji, katakana, or anything Japanese. So I'm adapting it to the English language. So I might stumble along the way. So please just bear with me, and I'll try to adapt it as best as I can. And everything that I'm writing right now is off the top of my head. I have nothing pre-written. I'm not reading off of any script or any pre-written pages. I'm doing this straight from my brain onto the screen so everyone can watch me work as I do without any guidelines or without leading myself already and practicing beforehand. This is all just me typing. So what you want to do first is establish your scene number, this is my first scene, and you want to establish exterior or interior, inside or outside. You want to establish where the person's at, be it their home or outside in the street, at Starbucks, at a maid cafe. You just want to state where they're at, so when you go to production, they know where to put the character. And I put morning here, morning, afternoon, early afternoon, evening, night. You'll state what time of day it is, so once again, when you go into production, they'll know what setting to put the characters in. So you have scene number 1, exterior, Tokyo, morning. Now, I would usually state who is in the scene. So let's put shop owner. I would usually give the person a character name by this time. I just don't have any names off the top of my head right now. He is known as a shop owner, and I would give him a little description since we don't know what he looks like or who he is right now. So put shop owner, put him in his late 60s. Let's see. He will be a slender build. Thinning hair. Let's put black thinning hair. Let's give him a hunchback, since he's always bending and moving and squatting, stacking his little kiosk store. And let's put him in a modern day, just slacks and button down shirt. So his name right now is shop owner, and his description is he's in his late 60s. He has a slender build. His black hair is thinning. He has a hunchback, and that's just a characteristic of him. So you might want to state characteristics as well when you're giving descriptions, so you're separating them from other characters in your script or your screenplay. And he's wearing modern day slacks and a button-down shirt. So that's just what his costume would look like. You could state colors. You could say they're black slacks, or he's wearing a t-shirt. He's wearing a military shirt, or he's wearing a Dickies shirt. Doesn't really. It's whatever your character you see in your head is wearing. I'm sure this will all change by the time I get to design, but for right now, this is what the character looks like, and this is what they're wearing. And he's wearing shoes, of course. I just don't know what type of shoes right now he's wearing. So, the moment on script, he's barefoot, but in reality, we all know that if we're outside, we're probably wearing shoes or sandals. Okay, so then I will leave a space, and I will give action to the screen. If there's any other characters inside of the scene or cut, you would want to state the other characters and give them a description, a name, so everyone knows who they are, especially when they go to storyboard. They can storyboard each character inside of the shot, and if you give a description at first, they'll have a relative idea of what the character looks like. Also, you might want to put in traits of the character, like let's say it's a female and she's always chewing bubblegum, or she likes eating ketchup out of a little ketchup bag like you find in restaurants, or she sucks on a lollipop, or she twirls her hair, or she giggles a lot. There's characteristics you want to give your characters so they're individuals and they're separated from the other characters. Alright, so now I'll put some action in the scene, state who is doing the action. Shop owner walks over to a locked up little manga shop. So this is the action in the scene. We take our shop owner and we give him an action. So he's walking over, and where he's walking over to is a locked up little manga shop. So that would be your scene 1. No dialogue in this scene, he's just doing an action. Then we'll skip down and we'll go to scene number 2. Exterior, Tokyo, morning. Okay, so we're gonna go from the shop owner walking over to the locked up manga shop, and we're gonna jump cut to him already inside of the store. Unless it's like a Studio Ghibli or Miyazaki movie, I don't know if you actually want to spend all the time watching him unlock the store or putting out the goods, setting up the shop. You can if you want to, but I'm trying to make this as quick and efficient as I can. So we're gonna go from him walking to the store, and we're gonna cut some time out in the day, and we're gonna place him in the shop. So shop owner is waiting at his counter for customers. Okay, so once again, we're stating who's in the scene or who's in the cut, what they're doing. He's waiting at his counter, and what is he waiting for? He's waiting for customers. How do you depict this? That is a good question. You can say he's waiting at the counter for customers. while listening to, let's say, 60s music. He's tapping a pen to the music while yawning and looking bored. So right now, in our scene 2, he's actually I'm going to change that exterior into interior because he is inside of the shop. So our scene 2, interior, Tokyo. Actually, also we're not just in Tokyo, we're inside the manga shop, because this could be a different shop that he's in. If you are going to show him in scene 1 opening up the shop, you might want to do that now and just go back and revise and state he's opening up the shop, so when we cut to him inside the shop, you know that he's inside the shop. If you're doing designs for the shop and there's tells, you might want to put those into the first scene. A tell meaning that there's a signage that says Little Manga Shop of Tokyo on the outside, and on the inside there's another sign that says Welcome to the Little Shop of Manga in Tokyo. So that's a tell. So you can tell that he's in the shop that he was walking to in the first scene when we jump cut. So scene number 2, interior, inside the manga shop. It's still morning. Our shop owner is waiting at his counter for customers, and then we'll give him an action, because this is the shop owner waiting at his counter for customers isn't really an action, it's a place setting. It's the imagery on the screen. But if we give him something to do while listening to music, and he's also tapping a pen on the counter, he's tapping a pen to the music. Oh, that's good. He's tapping a pen to the music. He's tapping a pen on he's tapping a pen, I guess, yeah, on a counter to the music would make more sense, while yawning. So you give him an action while he's at his counter and waiting for customers. How do you know he's waiting for customers? He could just be in there killing his time, or just sitting around because he's a delinquent. I don't know. So if we give him something to do and it shows that he's bored without actually him saying I'm so bored and using that as dialogue, we give him an action. And if he's tapping a pen on the counter to the music, you know, he's probably waiting, and then he's also yawning. That gives the indication to the audience that the tapping of the pen and him standing at his counter means that he's waiting for something. You don't know what yet, but you assume it's customers since he is running a store. And if he yawns, that usually gives the indication that you're bored. And if he's looking bored, if let's say his eyes are rolling, or he has his hand on his chin and his arm on a counter with his head leaned up against it, you give the actions to the viewer that this person's bored, and since he's working at a store, you assume that he's waiting for customers. So then we go to scene 3. It'll still be inside the manga shop. And let's put it in the afternoon. Oh, let's put it in the late afternoon. So if we're looking at the scene and the light has shifted since the morning time, since it gradually gets darker as time goes by, or if it's late at night, time goes by, it gets lighter. But since we're here in the morning, now we're here in the afternoon, we now show passes of time using light effects, or we could have a clock on the wall that shows you that it's now 4 o'clock, when earlier in the scene we had a clock on the wall that said that it's 9 a.m. So there's different patches of time. Right now you won't be writing all that information because you'll leave something to the production value of the anime. Just because this is a screenplay doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to stick to it 100%. The director of the show might have his own ideas and make changes. And when it gets into the storyboard aspect of it, your scenes might not make sense visually. So you don't have to write every single detail in your script, because it's not likely that it's actually going to be used. And since this is the first draft, more than likely there'll be lots of revisions before it actually goes into production. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Right now we're just thinking of ideas, and we're writing a screenplay, and from here on in, I'm sure there'll be other revisions, and we can add and take away and change details, or add a little bit more information, or even dialogue. So our scene 3, we're interior again, and we're still inside the manga shop. By this time, we could put manga shop as our location, but we'll just keep it as inside the manga shop right now, and it's late afternoon. So what do we want the character to be doing? Let's introduce a new character, a customer right now. So we'll put customer walks into the shop. Now you want to describe this customer, because you don't want this to be like a gray blob and a nameless or faceless character. It might be a gray blob if that's what your character is, but you want to give some description if the characters are interacting with each other, and or if they're interacting with the environment, you want to give information of what's happening in the scene. So customer walks into the shop, and we'll describe the customer. Let's say it's a young woman. Right now I don't have a name for her, so her name right now is young woman in the script, in the screenplay. Let's describe her. Let's say she's wearing a business suit. Flat shoes. Her hair is in a bun with her bangs flowing in the air. It sounds a bit weird. but it's a description of the woman. Let's make sure that we know that she's let's say she's in her mid-20s. And she's wearing a business suit with flat shoes. Her hair is in a bun with her bangs flowing in the air. So she walks into the shop, and then let's give the shopkeeper something to say. So his name is shop owner, and he'll say, "Hello, welcome to the little manga shop in Tokyo." Now, since he's speaking, you don't really need to put any quotes. It should be easy to recognize that he is speaking, because there's now dialogue, and I don't think you would mistake this for dialogue. But if you do, you can give indications of his speaking. You can also put down that he's happy when he's saying this line. You don't need to capitalize this if you don't want to, but you know that he's happy because he has a customer now in his shop, and he's greeting the customer. "Hello, welcome to the little manga shop in Tokyo." And then we can give some dialogue to the young woman. And she says, "Good afternoon. Do you have the new Naruto?" And let's make her also happy. So now for scene 3, we have scene 3, interior. We're inside the manga shop, so that's our location. It's late afternoon. That is the time of day. A customer walks into the shop, which is the action that's happening in the scene. We introduce a new person, so we have to describe them. If we had a name for the character, we would put the character's name here. But for right now, her name is Young Woman. And then we give her a description. So she's in her mid-20s. She's wearing a business suit, and she has flat shoes on. Her hair is in a bun with her bangs flowing in the air.